Happy Monday. Good morning. We're going to continue reading Chains. And we've gone back to the Revolution and studying Chains. And this is supposed to be an area of focus for us this year. So I think it's good to relearn some of the things. And if you remember, this takes place May 29th, 1776. It's just been a few days. So it's like 2 months before the Declaration of Independence is declared publicly. And remember, the Declaration of Independence, look at the words. They declare they are independent from England. Now, I think next time we're going to have to read a little bit of the Declaration of Independence because they don't say, England, we are separate from you. They get very philosophical and they say, humans have a natural right to be free. And they get very political. And they basically say that because we have our own right to be free, that we don't have to obey you, England. Now, New York and Boston are two of the big centers of the American Revolution. And the things that they have in common is that they're both places where people come with ships and trade, and there's money and trade and people and things going on. So when you study the American Revolution in college, there's a number of people who think that part of what inspired the American Revolution was the desire to look after their own money and not have their money that they're making from all the trade, a lot of rich men, and not have their money controlled by England or be part of England. So they started saying things like, we have the natural right to govern ourselves and be free. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness was Thomas Jefferson's words. He didn't say, I will make more money if I don't have to be controlled by England. Just a thought. Let's get down. Still Wednesday, May 29th. This way. Okay, when we last left our hero, she had been through a lot. I won't recap it all, but she's in New York now, and for a moment, she is going to the water pump to get water for tea. The Lockdons have just brought them to New York. They have just arrived in the port of New York. And why would you get water for tea? Because there's no running water. It's 1776, okay? And New York is built on bedrock. There aren't a lot of places to dig wells and pump water. So this is one place in town where you get really clean water, and it's sought after because still tea is something. It's an English thing, tea, Okay. This way, the boy said. As the carriage turned around the corner, he headed away from the waterfront quick, and without looking back, I picked up my skirts and I ran after him. Please slow down, I called. He pushed ahead. I tried to follow. We hurried past the big houses I've ever seen, past shops and taverns and manufactories, past city folk walking like their shoes were on fire. I could not move fast enough. I was losing sight of him in the crowd. You better slow down, I called. Folks about me muttered and frowned. The boy stepped in front of a tavern, and he waited. His mouth looked like he was irritated. I trotted up to him so angry the steam came off the top of my head. You offer to help me, and then you abandon me. Where are we going? And why did you send me to buy water? Don't people here know about digging wells? He waited for a minute, then he said, You ask a lot of questions. You give dull-witted answers, I shot back. Country girls are slow-moving, vexing creatures. That's what Curzon said. I love the vocabulary. You're the vexatious one, I said to Curzon, running off and leaving me like that. We stood glaring at each other with his arms crossed over his chest and me trying to catch my breath. Inside the tavern, a woman argued with a man about a leaking cask of beer. On the street corner, an army official yelled orders at 4 soldiers building a barricade out of logs, large stones, and barrels full of dirt. My heart finally slowed, my brow cooled off, and I wanted to give myself a nasty pinch. Fool, I should have kept my temper. Now he would truly leave and I'd be lost in this horrible place. There was no telling what Madame Lockton might do to Ruth while I was gone. So he just very quietly, the lady, she just quietly pointed out that they were digging barricades. They're expecting attack on New York at this point. So Washington still has control of New York, and they're building barricades. Tomorrow, I have assigned a small bit of reading, and I did a video about the Battle of Brooklyn. And you'll understand more. I'm sorry I spoke so rudely. Apologies do not come naturally to me, but I had no choice. Curzon said. I'm sorry I caused you a fright, Country. Thank you again. And my name is Isabel, not Country. Apologies, Miss Country Isabel, he said with a smile. I should have explained before. We're headed to what folks call the tea water pump, said Curzon. Rich people get their water from there because it tastes the best. But first I must deliver a message for my master. Stay here. He ducked inside a stationer's shop briefly, and he came out carrying a small parcel wrapped in brown paper and 2 fresh rolls, steaming hot, with butter oozing from their middles. Follow this way. We walked the length of an alley to a small courtyard. Someone had planted a garden there, and the first plants came up: peas, cabbage, and pennyroyal. Pennyroyal grows wild around here. I wish I could point it out to you. It's kind of a smelly mint. It's used for medicines. Curzon handed me a roll, and he pointed to a tree stump. Figured you'd want to set and eat a bite first. I have no money. I can't take this. It cost me nothing. The baker's daughter likes the lad who works the press. She brings him extra breads and pies. Eat. Go ahead. Half my roll disappeared in one bite. It was the first decent food I'd had since Jenny's kitchen, days ago. I remember she had been throwing up, too, on the ship. Curzon watched me without saying a word. When I licked the butter off my fingers, he gave me his roll, too. I had a large breakfast. Here. My pride wanted to turn it down, but my belly was stronger. The second roll vanished as fast as the quick. Thank you, I said when I finished. I'm beholden to you for that. Can we go now? I need to get back to my sister. He set his package on the tree stump. The littler one is your sister? That's why you took a blow meant for her, didn't you? A breeze ran through the courtyard, fluttering the leaves around the pea plants and blowing cool across my cheek where Madame struck me. Yeah, she needs watching over. How long you been with the Locktons? 3 days. Curzon listened carefully as I told how Madame and her husband bought us. Lockton is a dirty loyalist, he said when I finished. Loyalist or rebel, I don't care. I stood up from the stump and I brushed my shirt clean. Can we go? Do you feel beholden to Lockton? Excuse me? He's going to feed you and your sister, give you a place to sleep. He can order you sold, beat, or hung, if the mood takes him. That can make a person feel a kind of loyalty. Someday I'll find that lawyer, I said, and Miss Mary's will be free. Until then, we need to eat, work, and stay together. So I guess I'm loyal to Lockton. Yeah, he said, what did he say? Right, he can order you beat, sold, or hung. The words tasted bitter. Being loyal to the one who owned me gave me prickly thoughts, like the burrs trapped in a skirt. We paused at the corner while a soldier drove a cart filled with barrels down the street. After we crossed, Curzon spoke so quiet I had to lean in to catch his word. You might be better served if you place your loyalty with us. Who's us? My master and those he serves, the rebels. Congress. We're fighting for freedom from people like Lockton. I'm just fighting for me and Ruth. You can keep your rebellion. How much longer till this pump? He stopped beside a barricade. On the brim of his hat, his face was in a shadow. You might hear things at the Locktons' house. What kind of things? Oh, useful things. Things that might help you get your lawyer and your freedom. I don't like riddles. Please talk plain. New York is a ball right now, tossed between the Loyalists and the Patriots. Right now, the Patriots hold it. So, Lockton has returned to hurt our cause. Why don't they arrest him? It's not that simple. Plenty of folks hereabouts haven't decided which side they favor. One day they cheer General Washington, the next day they toast the king. Putting in Lockton in jail could turn them against us. He started walking again, nattering on about plots and conspiracies and battle plans and secrets, but the truth be told, my mind just drifted. I cared not a fig for politics or soldiers. I was worried about my sister, and my cheek still hurt. Will you help us or not? He stared at me intent as I tried to figure out his meaning. You want me to be a spy? Are you funny in the head? Do you know what they would do to me? Shh, keep your voice down. You have to listen and alert me if you hear anything important. You won't be any danger. You're a crazy fool, Curzon, I said to him. How do you know I won't tell Master Lockton you even sought me out? Wouldn't matter if you did. He knows he's under suspicion. Might do you some good, bring you favor in his eyes if you told him, but that's a mistake. Lockton won't reward you, but the Patriots can. Colonel Regan is the officer in charge. He could send you back to Rhode Island, maybe help you find that lawyer and papers. I pondered this. Was he lying? Could I trust this strange boy filled with war and secrets? Would Mama do? I shook my head. It's too dangerous. I'll have enough of my chores and watching Ruth and just keeping out of Madam's way. All you have to do is listen for talk of the king's troops. That's all. See, there you go again, proving you're a fool. They won't say anything in front of me. You're a small black girl, country. You're a slave. In their eyes, you are not a person. They'll say things in front of you that they won't say in front of the white servants because you don't count to them. It happens all the time. It happens to me all the time. There was a truth in his words. It was a hard truth, kind of like a hammer striking a stone. If you hear something, come to Bellingham's house in the night, across from where your ship docked this morning. I sleep in the shed room, tap on the window, and I'll awake. I touched my cheek. I couldn't. I shouldn't do this. I can't. I promised Mama I would take care of Ruth. Can we please go? And that's the end of the chapter. I love that. That's a quotable line. If you had to write a paper about this book, that is definitely an amazing line right there. New York is a ball tossed between the Loyalists and the Patriots. Right now, the Patriots hold it. That's just super cool. I love that. And, Wind of the Times. We talked about Weltanschauung, Wind of the Times. Sometimes in the language you care. I care not a fig for politics. Do we use words like that anymore? I almost want to go and use that word today. I care not a fig for whether or not you like not having to do the dishes. Right. Okay. Zoom meeting tomorrow. And more book reading on Wednesday. And yes, I am going to assign, there we go, the audio book of this summer, just from my blog. Okay. So when you forget, oh my God, I gotta listen to the audio book. Half the summer's over. Go to my blog. And on the top, I'll say something real clear like audio book link for chains. And I'm going to want you to listen to the rest of the book because next year we are going to pick up book number 2. It's a 3-book series. Chains, Forge, Ashes. 3 books. Amazing. See you at the Zoom meeting tomorrow.